Good evening, everyone. We're going to open things here with a public hearing in regards to a daycare at 1459 Compton Road. This was approved by the Planning Commission with stipulations. So I declare the public hearing open. And do you want to start?
I can read it if you'd like. Go for it. Yep, so Planning Commission approved the condition, or recommends the approval of the conditional use of a type A daycare, which type A is 7 to 12 in a home setting, 7 to 12 children, with the following conditions. And, sorry. The conditions are that business hours only operate from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m., that the business shall meet Mount Healthy Ordinance 155.112 for parking requirements, requiring off-street parking, and the owner allocate child drop-off and pickup driveway space on site. That is it.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
No problem.
Who else would like to address this? Anybody from council? There'll be questions later. Anybody here who would like to address this? Quiet crowd. You're all worn out from rooting for the Bengals, right? There you go. Yeah, you know it. Okay, council, back to you. Any questions or comments? 1459 Compton Road is next to Fibonacci, is that correct?
Yes, it is. Correct. Yeah, the greenhouse. If you're looking at the brewery, it's to the right.
Okay. Nobody has anything to say? Got the floor open for anybody who wants to make a comment.
And I will just clarify a little bit. So in Ohio, there's type A, type B, and there are centers. Type A is in-home 7 to 12 children. Type B is in-home 1 to 6 children. And a center is, does not require residency of the operator, and it is 13 or more children. This area is, it allows type A under conditional use, which means we're allowed to set conditions, which is what we are recommending. Type B is allowed, and center requires conditional use as well.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Anything, council? Our guest, anything to say? If you want to speak, you can come up to the podium there. Okay, anybody wants to speak? Council, what is your wishes on this? You want to vote on this now?
Turn new.
Yeah, during the meeting.
Yeah, during the regular course of the meeting.
Yeah.
It's on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing else to be said. I will close the public hearing. Sorry about that. Okay, now we will open up our council meeting, and I would ask that you stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Lord, look lovingly on this group gathered here. During this meeting, as we discuss and deliberate on issues of importance to this council, help us to be guided by your Spirit. May we be wise in your discernment, balanced in our judgment, fair in our discussion, and visionary in our planning. Though we may at times have differing views, may we listen to one another and be guided by our common goals. May we always be mindful in our words and actions of what is best for our citizens and our community. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome everyone. January 17th council meeting. Glad to see everybody here. Call to order. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Lingo. Here. Mr. Parsons.
Here.
Mr. Redding.
Here.
Mrs. Dosa. Here. Mr. George.
Here.
Mr. Young.
Here.
Mrs. Rissel.
Okay, everyone is present. That's wonderful. You have the minutes before you from January 3rd meeting, 2023. Hope you've taken a few moments to look over these.
One correction,
Okay, Mr. George?
I too was absent that day. I too was absent that day. Need to be
Yeah,
added.
it wasn't Mrs. Dosa, it was Mrs. Lingo and Mr. George were absent.
I think under the minutes, the last line, special meeting, just got a,
Which page, sir?
front page, first page, where it says minutes. It's METTING is how it's spelled. Meeting.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see it.
I got it.
Anybody else have any corrections?
Technically, fire truck is 2 words, but I don't know if it really matters or not.
Put a slash between fire truck.
Yeah, so it's just a slash.
Okay, if nobody else has anything that they'd like to add to that, I would ask for a motion to adopt as corrected.
I make a motion to adopt the minutes as corrected.
Second. Okay, Mr. Parsons has made a motion to adopt as corrected, and Mr. Redding has seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Does anybody have any correspondence? I do not.
We got minutes of the work session.
Yep. Do they need to be approved?
I don't think we have in the past, or should we?
We did,
We never
yeah,
did.
Okay,
yeah, we
okay.
did approve them.
Okay. Minutes for the work session. Goodness gracious, this thing's sensitive tonight, isn't it? Does anybody see any corrections on the work session? Nothing on the work session? Looks good to everyone? Then I would ask for a motion to adopt as printed.
I make a motion to adopt the monthly work session January 3rd meeting minutes.
Okay, Ms. Dosa has made a motion to adopt as printed. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Redding is seconded. Roll call, please.
Motion,
What's that?
voice vote, the motion vote.
Oh. Okay, all those in favor of the motion, or the minutes for the work session, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion is carried. Minutes are approved. I apologize. Do we have any guests, sir?
You can come up. Did she sign in? Okay, you can.
All right, this is public input. We need you to give us your name and address, sir.
My name is Kevin Benford, address 1975 Stevens Avenue.
Okay, thank you, sir. What's on your mind, sir?
Greetings, Sam. I'm here today because I'm the head coach at Real Deal Boxing Gym. We're located up at Hilltop Plaza. We house 30 to 50 kids a day. We're saving a lot of lives up there. Right now, we're here because we're in financial disparity. Like, we got kids we're trying to send to boxing tournaments. We're the #1 team in the country right now. This has never happened in the state of Ohio.
Yes, we talked about that when you won all those
Well,
championships. Congratulations.
yeah, we're doing a great job up there as far as building champions in boxing, but that's not, it don't end there. We're mentoring these kids. We're training them with life skills, you know. But right now, we need a van. We need a place to train, anything that helps. Something to help send the kids out of town with far as funding, transportation, meal, anything to do. And, you know, we're just reaching out to the community, the town of Mount Healthy. Like I say, all these kids are from Mount Healthy. You know, whatever they can do to help us, we're reaching out.
Did you lose your place down at Hilltop Plaza, or?
Well, we was in rinks, and after they kicked everybody out,
Right.
we did a news story, and the guy over at Hilltop Plaza reached out to us. We're currently over there, but it's a high rent, and
I
most of
understand.
these kids come from single parent households, and it's rough. You know, if we had a free building in Mount Healthy to have a boxing gym where we didn't have to pay rent and utilities, that would be great. Like I said, you know, these kids, they could be out here doing something bad, or, you know, end up in jail or dead.
Yeah, no, we don't want that.
No.
We got enough of that now.
Yes, that's why we're here.
Okay, administration.
And we've had some discussions with Hilltop, just in some of the businesses that they've had. I mean, definitely open to having a conversation with them to see, you know, if there's something that we can do to help out. But I mean, it's kind of between you guys to determine the rent. Have we done anything in the past? Is there anything with We Thrive, or?
I was thinking with We Thrive. I don't know if we have, so we have a committee for public health that's run through Hamilton County Board of Public Health and the city. It's a collaboration, and this fits.
Well, we are a nonprofit organization as well.
Yeah. Let me get all your contact info, and I can wrap my head around We Thrive, see what we can do. Because
Okay.
I don't think they have money right now to directly give to you all, but they are really good at networking and fundraising with other groups, like Interact for Health with, they're the main one, Interact for Health. But also they were able to help use their network to raise some funds for Chicken Farm, which is a nonprofit, which the farmhouse burnt down. They were very successful in raising funds for that. So may be able to at least connect you with some fundraisers, see what we can do with that.
That's the plan.
Awesome.
I have a few questions. How many kids did you say again that are
At
in
least
here?
30. We had 30 on a regular every day, but
Okay.
we get up to 50 to 60 kids.
30 to 60?
Yes.
And then, how much space would you require? Do you got just a
This
ballpark?
enough right here.
Like this council chambers would be enough space?
This would be enough right here. If you take all this out, we can put a box ring, some bags.
Okay.
That's all we need.
Okay. 2,500 square feet?
That sounds like a lot. Okay. Oh, well, yeah.
And then, what is your monthly lease down there?
Right now, it's $1,500 a month.
Okay. All right. I think that's good to know in case we can come up with another building or something like that, that we're, you know.
What are your hours?
3:30 to 6:30
3 hours.
during weekdays. when we got tournaments, we train during the weekends. Like I said, we are the #1 country in the team. We got 15 kids in the top 10. 8 of them are #1
That's great.
in the country.
So, as long as we're in the city, that should be close enough for everybody to get to, that
Yes.
currently is coming? Okay.
Yes. All the kids, the
Okay.
majority are from Mount Healthy.
Okay.
See them running down Meredith all the time training.
Yes. You know, like, it'd be nice to have a van to ride behind them.
Yeah, I sure hope we can do something to help you out. You get something for that number of children, to keep them off the streets, like you
Yes,
say.
yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we can't give you taxpayers' money,
Well,
so we have to do this in different ways.
Right.
And if we can get grants through, well, you heard the term "We Thrive." Do you know what that is?
I've heard of it.
It's a group through the Hamilton County Board of Health who was working through all the communities that got involved with them, trying to do things in the community to help improve the health and well-being of our citizens. And they will give us grants. We've gotten grants from them before for different things. So that's our best hope, I think, right now. So,
Couple more questions.
Sure.
How imminent is your situation? Like, you got a
Very.
couple of months, you got,
And we're,
I know the
we're
van
month
thing
to
is-
month right now. Right now, the parents are just putting the money together, and we're paying bills like that right now. And then, you know, like, we have kids, we have to charge, you know. I mean, I hate doing that because, like I said, it's single parents. Nobody has no money to pay for this, you know. Most of the kids that are #1 in the country, they got a single parent household. They can't afford to pay a fee to come in the gym every day. Boxing is usually a poor man's sport. You usually never come from a family. They got a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, you know. Those are the problems we're going through.
okay, and you're a registered 501c3
Yes,
organization?
yes.
So, what is the name of that?
Giving kids a fighting chance.
Giving Kids a Fighting Chance, okay.
Yes.
And the reason for that question is because, so I'm a retiree from Duke Energy, so if I designate a donation to there, Duke will match those funds. So in case anybody else wants to make a donation and is employed, then, or even a retiree of a company, your company might match that, so.
Okay, that's great. Appreciate it.
Giving Kids a Fighting Chance,
Yes.
okay?
anybody else got any questions?
Have you tried any GoFundMe at all?
Yes, like, we've been active for the last 13 years, so.
Yeah, I know you've been around a
We've
while.
been begging for 13 years.
I'm well aware, yeah, from when you
Yes.
were back at the Old Brinks property. I'm just trying to think, I'm just trying to think of short-term and long-term. Because
Right.
anything we can provide is gonna be more long-term, most likely. Anything we can help with, I'm trying to help you right now and
Right.
long-term. So I'm
Okay.
trying to think, with We Thrive, I think it's helpful because we can expand the network of fundraising for maybe a GoFundMe to get you some short-term funds as we work on something longer-term. I taught at Mount Healthy for 18 years and
Oh, okay.
saw the good that you all did.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you my card and the city manager's card, so we can, get working on this and stay in touch, but we can hopefully find some resources long-term.
Yes.
But we need something short-term too, right?
Man,
In the immediate, so.
anything will work right now.
Yeah, I just don't wanna say anything and make promises or whatever, not knowing, you know?
Yes.
But I think there's some networks we can work to see what we can do. Yeah, so let me give you these.
Okay.
So I can think more. I don't wanna say things before thinking it through. But when you're done, yeah, taking questions, I'll give you both these cards.
Just one thing for Jamie. Are you familiar with the Alliance's vision statement? Would this fit them, do you think, or?
All those things are going through my mind.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
those, and there's some churches that have some funds. The We Thrive that we keep bringing up, they alone don't have funds, but they're tied to organizations
right.
that have funds. So we keep saying We Thrive. We Thrive helped us fund the infrastructure to have the soccer league in the park.
Oh,
This is
okay.
exactly right up their alley.
Right,
I mean,
yes.
it's supposed to be for public health. It's supposed to get our residents moving and off the streets and doing things that are good for them and the community. I mean, this is exactly the mission
It
of
definitely
We
is.
Thrive. So, we can use that as a network, as an avenue to explore some of their funding sources to figure out how we could possibly get those to you. Yeah, there's opportunities. There really are.
It's great, great. It's a blessing.
Yeah,
Blessing.
yeah.
What are your hours of, what are your hours
3:30 to 6:30 weekday.
every day,
Yes.
Monday through Sunday?
Monday through Friday, and 10 to 3 on the weekends. We only open on the weekends if we have a tournament coming up. Then we train 7 days a week. Well, we've been doing that for the last. We haven't had a break lately.
Yeah.
After this tournament, the nationals are February the 8th through the 11th. Then we have the USA Olympic qualifiers March 20th through the 25th. And all the kids, they're invited. Like, you don't have to fight no more. They invite you once you fight so much. So they give you an invitation. Right, once you win so much. They invite you. They want to see you in the tournament. And they're trying to do all their best to try to get you there if you can't make it.
Okay.
They even try to help.
I think it's a great thing you're doing.
Did Dante Strayhorn box for you?
He boxed for John Falcone.
Okay,
I was down in the city then.
okay. I taught him and followed him when he went pro, so I was just wondering.
Yeah, he just retired.
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't do too good in the pro ranking.
No, I'm proud of him though.
Oh yeah.
Good kid.
We have 2 kids that came through our program that's in the pro ranking now. One's signed with Floyd Mayweather and one's with Al Heyman.
That's
But
awesome.
they ain't made no money yet.
Yeah, right. It's hard.
Can't wait till they make some money.
I've been struggling with that for about 50 years. I ain't made no money yet either. I finally just gave up and retired.
So I just got to throw the towel in.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to work on these items and try to see if we can't get some money flowing into you.
I appreciate for having our
We're proud of what
us
you're
up
doing.
here and the time y'all gave us.
It's wonderful to hear Mount Healthy and good things about it on the news,
Yes,
Yeah.
you know, and because there's always, you hear the bad things.
yes.
And I was thrilled. I heard it on Channel 12, I believe. I was just thrilled. My wife said, come here. Listen to this. Mount Healthy's in the news. Oh, my God. not again.
What now?
So it was a good thing, so, yeah. Keep up the good work.
All right, thank you,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's the cards. Yeah, we'll be in touch.
Hello.
Hi, I guess I need to state my name.
Name and address, please, yeah.
Kelly Prather, 1340 Hartwood Drive.
Okay.
Mayor Wolf and council and administration, thank you all so much for allowing us to be here to speak. I just have to give kudos to the council. This is the friendliest council that I've ever been in. I'm here with the Dre Will production team in support of Real Deal Boxing and also Enhanced Healthcare Solutions. The last time I was before the council, I requested a variance ordinance for my company, Enhanced Healthcare Solutions, and you graciously awarded me that. But we decided to take our business back to Cincinnati. I don't know why we did that, but we went back to Cincinnati. Mount Healthy is a much friendlier community, and when we decided to work with Mr. Benford, who is a godsend, the first thing I said is, you should talk to council because they're very receptive to small businesses and they want positive media in the village. So
Yes.
Again, I'm advocating for them, anything you can do as far as grants. I know, Mayor Wolf, I know you talked about Thrive. The Center for Closing the Health Gap is also very receptive to supporting anything that's going to keep adults and children healthy. And then also, I'm a member of the Greater Cincinnati African American Chamber of Commerce, and they will be really receptive to helping too. So as a media company, the Dre Will Productions, we are willing to assist in putting out very positive media about Mount Healthy and supporting anything you can do to help. As a matter of fact, one thing we were thinking about doing is a raffle, having the young men raffle off a cell phone. Back in the day, we raffled bikes and everything else. So at the end of the day, they would get a bike if they sold the most raffle tickets. So we're just thinking of anything that we can do to help Coach Buck and Coach Gary and the parents, because again, they come from the inner city. I know Coach Buck, or Kevin Benford. I know him personally, and I know that, you know, his life legacy is helping inner city youth to survive, because we come from a very vulnerable and marginalized community. And so, you know, he's really passionate about this, and I want to be able to save this space. And like I said, Mount Healthy is an extremely resident-friendly village, and this is a good place for them. So if you all could help them, we would greatly appreciate it. So again, we will help with media or do whatever we can to support this venture.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We will sure do everything we can, and it's nice to hear positive things.
That is.
Thank you. Yes. Who's next? Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
With the beard? Okay.
Right here.
Got him.
Hello.
Wait, yeah, why don't you wait just a second here, so we can hear you.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Except when they take out my parking. Yeah, they be out there partying though.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, young lady, let's get started. Name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Natasha Rowden. I was the first person. It was just that I ran up here and I just had so much heartburn. I couldn't talk. I heard everybody talking, but I couldn't move. I was like, it's what I just ate, I think. But I'm here for my daycare center, 1459 Compton Road. I looked up the daycare centers in the area in Mount Healthy, and I came across two centers that's type A, the same type that I'm pursuing. And they both, one closes at 11 p.m. and the other one closes at 12 o'clock midnight. So all I was asking is that, can I do the non-traditional hours? All the other actual centers, type C, they close at 7. So I was just trying to be a beacon in the community, do non-traditional hours for everybody that had to work third shift or had to be to work early, like 5 o'clock in the morning, or, so that's just what I was asking for. So
You'd like to match the hours of the other type A
yes,
in the
and
community?
I feel like we work together. We're really not in like a competition. It's just limitations. You got type B, that's 6 kids. You got type A, that's 7 to 12 kids. Then you got the center. Well, the centers close at 7. The two type A's in Mount Healthy, one closed at 11 and one closed at midnight. So I just wanted to offer those hours of third shift, non-traditional hours, and just be that person for the community. And that was just what I was asking for.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Lingo.
Where are the other two type A's located in Mount Healthy?
Miss Irene, 8869 Zodiac Drive.
That's not Mount Healthy.
And then Pumpkin Patch, 9721 Helmsley Way. Both in the 31 area code, it says type A. Zodiac closed at 12 and Pumpkin Patch closed at 11.
Yeah.
So I just wanted
Zodiac's not in Mount Healthy.
Not Mount Healthy.
Oh, okay, that's what it's.
Yeah.
What,
There's Helmsley.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
but-
I was just gonna say that.
what
But
I
it's the
asked.
same name as the one on Compton Road. Yeah, so neither one of those, yeah, are in the city.
Oh, okay, well, that's what popped up on the search when I was
Well,
trying to do
yeah,
my research.
the 45231 is a much
31.
bigger area than Mount Healthy.
Okay, okay, but, still remains, I wanna do type A, I wanna be open for the people who work, go to school late, evening hours, work third shift, and, that's really my ask for, the daycare, that I can do these
Okay.
non-traditional hours.
Okay. Mayor, I have a question. Can we change the stipulations in this without going back to,
Yes. Yes, so
Council.
planning commission just gives a recommendation to council. Council can make any changes they wish, adopt it.
okay.
They can reject our proposal, they can modify it, yes.
I just have a question. I mean, was this brought to you guys? Were you guys, was the planning commission aware of this, her request, as far as the time frame?
She wanted 24 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she went
okay.
24 hours.
24 hours, okay, that's true. Okay. And what was the reason for the conditions?
A couple, one of them was, we're first of all concerned about undue concentration of daycares in the area,
Okay,
which is something we're allowed to take into consideration. But this is allowed for, this is allowed in that area with conditional use that we set. Our biggest concern was later night hours with an alcohol serving establishment next door.
Yeah.
It was more a concern about where the location was than it was her business itself.
okay. Okay, thank you. I was just wanted to make sure there wasn't
Yeah.
something
no,
I wasn't thinking.
Feel free, any of these questions, yeah.
Any other questions, council? The items you brought up were the ones that you wanted to discuss, right? There's no more? Okay.
To my house, but they do, have children and do a lot of kid-friendly things there. I also learned that they do like an Airbnb house that's there with kids, and they have animals and everything. So I don't think that the brewery would stop, me being able to operate and be safe and, everything, and that's it.
Yeah, as long as your kids aren't over there drinking, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, we'll consider them when we discuss this here in a little bit, your request. Okay. Is there any more questions before I move on to the next person? Okay. Who else wants to address council? Okay. Then the public input section of our council meeting is closed. Committee reports. Business partnership, Mr. Young.
Thank Kathy for going to the Business Association meeting last week. She takes very thorough notes, by the way. So they discussed the Christmas, some different things for Christmas as far as what things went well, what things didn't. They were putting luminaries out and they were using the bags, but I watched them put them out. But it's hard in the wintertime because it's cold.
It was very windy that day,
It was
too.
windy that day, so some of them caught on fire. So it's kind of, they were bright. They didn't last very long, but so some different ideas on that. So I'll talk to them about some ideas that I've used in the past. They had about 40 people go through the historic building over here. And Square Mile Coffee, that was their biggest day they've had. So, and I noticed that looking up the street, they were packed up there all day, so that was good to see. I think that's one thing we talked about with going to committees and things, of trying to, what can we do to help build that up? I think when Mr. Reddy and I were talking about that, so hopefully we can get some ideas together and work on trying to build that up and set a date that I think is earlier in December. I think going late in December towards Christmas is hard, so that's some of the things I heard some of the businesses was being a week before Christmas is hard to do anything, so
Right.
maybe setting something a little bit earlier up. And then just getting together with some of the businesses. I know they talked with the karate studio and kind of a shop, kind of a group shop where you can go and do different things, and Santa. So just trying to find some ideas to do things right there in the heart of the city, so. And trying to get the churches involved also, so. So got a lot of work to do, and get some more time here for next year to try and get that together. I think that's all I
Yeah,
have.
it kind of fell together at the last minute.
Yeah, everything was kind of put together. You can't start things for Christmas in November.
No.
So, need a little start maybe now,
Yeah.
so. And nobody wants to talk about it. So, it's done, so, but you need to get some things in place, so. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Young? Beautification, Ms. Lingo.
No report.
Finance, Mr. Parsons.
No report?
Parks, Ms. Lingo again.
No report. Oh, but I want to thank Justin, right? He went down to,
Aaron.
no, I know that's
Oh,
Aaron. Justin, went down and chipped all the stuff that we did down in the wetlands. I just want to thank him for doing that. That's it. I was pointing at him because I couldn't
I
remember
thought you were
what he
calling him Justin.
said. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions? Mr. Horsley, I want to thank you for all the hard work you did organizing that down there at the park to clean it up. Kudos, sir.
You did a great job.
Streets and safety, Mr. Redding.
Safety first. Just referring to the wetland parks, yeah, Aaron was down there over the weekend. They started putting the trail in. Ran into a little bit of an issue where, I guess 3 guys on dirt bikes came through while they were working, gave them some grief. And there is a sign down there posted in the parking lot, no motorized vehicles past this point. So, mentioned that to the police today while I was talking with them about something else. And I'm sure they're gonna look into it. That's a tough thing though, unless somebody got a license plate or something like that, but we'll make sure that, they'll keep an eye on it. But yes, thanks to Aaron and the group that was down there last weekend. I had a chance to go down there, Sunday, I believe it was, and look around. It's starting to really shape up. So, more honeysuckle to take out, but there's always honeysuckle to take out. So, anyway. And then there was, some criminal activity and a shooting at, Clovernook Apartments, over the weekend. There was 2 things, the shooting and then graffiti. It looks like, I drove by there today, and I also talked with our detective and with Sergeant Nolte, or Acting Chief Nolte. He fits both those. And it seems like, it looked like there was somebody from their management company that came down and already painted over the graffiti. But again, in thinking about that, I think we talked about this earlier in an earlier council meeting about getting with the management team and seeing if they need to improve, or we need to have a serious discussion about looking at what we can do to incentivize them to improve. So I'll leave it at that, because I think the city manager will also have some more to talk about with that. Going to streets, I wasn't sure how to handle this, but I talked with the city manager, with Scott. He brought up to me, there's some issues on Compton Road and the intersection of Compton Road and Perry, and accidents here in the years 2021 and 2022. I have some documents for council. I wasn't sure if we might want to look at this at a work session at the next council meeting, or however council wants to handle it, or I can take it to committee. Either way, but I have some documents I can hand out to everybody. So, and Scott provided me with, so I think it's good information, so we'll just continue from there, but, so any questions on any of that?
There are signs under the stop sign that say cross-traffic does not stop.
Right, yes.
Noticed
I
that
saw them.
tonight.
Yep, I looked at them too on the way back while looking at Adams Road, so, so anyway, it's becoming an issue, so, or it has been an issue the last 2 years when compared to prior years. But when you look at these documents, the prior year information is not the most reliable, and that'll say that in these documents.
Okay.
So that is all I have.
Okay, questions? Thank you, Joe. Schools, Mr. George.
No report tonight.
Library, Ms. Dosa.
Nothing new to report.
Urban Tree,
Nothing, no report.
and We Thrive, who's,
We don't have anyone right now.
Right.
And I wasn't able to make the meeting today, but, were you there? Do you want to report? I did get a report about the art. Have you introduced yourself to council? Please do so. She's going to be our We Thrive representative.
Wow, okay, I was coming to observe, but I'm Jacqueline Johnson Wilkerson. I am the newly elected Executive Director for Mount Healthy Alliance. And I'm also a member of the We Thrive, and I was at the meeting this evening, prior to this meeting, and a lot of our discussion has been around beautification of the city of Mount Healthy and proposals for that. What does that look like, working in conjunction with Artworks for a project, whether that be a mural, a celebration of our history, our rich history, which includes the Underground Railroad, to the history of the mulberry trees, to you name it. So a lot of discussion around those type of projects. And what can we do to help get those projects moving and to get funding for those projects. We also talked about the wetlands, and so things like that. And that's really the update. We're going to submit, as individuals, submit our ideas so that we can begin to work on those projects before the deadline and submit for the proposals and get the mural or alleyway mural, mini murals, or whatever that looks like, beautification project started.
Great.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
She's underselling herself as well. She's a local poet, which you can find her at our open mics uptown. She works with the students from the school district and at Ticken Farm, teaching them poetry. She does a little bit of everything in town, so, yeah. You're not,
Thank you.
and a published poet at that, I need to say. So, yeah,
now you've embarrassed her.
well, she deserves more credit than she's giving herself.
That's wonderful. Sure,
thank you
sure
for
pleased
that.
that you're up here doing this.
I, at the last minute, had to cancel out on that meeting, unfortunately. So I was going to bring that up.
Really, Paul?
Sorry.
It looks like, so, yeah, with Artworks, I'm just gonna back on that. So, we've been working with Artworks for a little while, and they want, like, the proposal, they want it to be narrowed down on what they should be working on, but it also seems like we're broadening this a little bit. So the options are, and this is from Artworks, option one is just to have a mural. Option two is some mini murals in the alleyway. Option three is to have a full public art plan developed. And the fourth one is sculpture. And it seems like the leaning is towards the full public art plan. So they want it narrowed, but it sounds like the option that we're leaning towards is to broaden it, right? Don't want to just waste, this is our opportunity to work with Artworks. We don't want to waste this opportunity in getting one thing when we could have a long plan and funding for multiple things. And that will tie into, once we start working on it this year with Community Development Block Grant money with alleyways and walkways and streetscapes, it could fit right into that. So sculpture can be utilitarian sculpture. They often recommend having sculpture as business signs, as bike racks, as benches, et cetera.
I've seen that.
So it could actually work into the plan for parking lots, for alleys, for the streetway, et cetera. Be functional and artistic to really make the business district look nice. So it's not official yet, but it looks like that's probably the avenue that we're going to be going down with them. And that would obviously bring all of you in to talk about how that would fit in with the alleyways, et cetera. Obviously, this takes longer than we'd hoped. We had someone assigned to us early last year, and it's been slow. Not on our end, but from Artworks' end. The other two things, which are kind of a bummer. So the bank building on the corner has gone under contract, and the Brotherton's building has a sale pending right now.
Oh.
So both of those occurred since the last meeting. So the CURC is still going after those, hoping something falls through. If that does fall through, they'll come back to CIC to see, because obviously that plan wouldn't work, and they'd have to think about where to go from then. I know Mr. Young talked to some business owners that have some properties they would actually like to transfer over or sell to the CURC, and some of them have vacancies in the same area, so that could be an opportunity as a Plan B. The two other lots are not for sale or contract pending right now, the ones on the back. There's also the city properties that they could work on redeveloping. So there's still a lot of opportunity if this falls through, but it is pretty disappointing. So we'll see. We'll see. The CRC took a tour, and apparently they are in awful shape. So they're hoping that some of the buyers that came in might back out of it post-inspection. So we'll see where that goes. It's all very fluid, so I'm meeting with them again on Thursday to kind of see what the next steps are. And that's the end of my report.
Okay. We weren't on your report, but good job.
Oh, I went straight from Rethrive into my
That's right.
report.
That's right.
Sorry. Back to back.
Mr. Redding.
Question on Artworks.
Yep.
Is there a possibility that there would be a project done this year?
That was the hope. So we were assigned a community planner through Artworks.
Okay.
She came to a few of the meetings. Was she there tonight? No, she was not. She came to a few of the meetings, then kind of disappeared. And we aren't sure what happened there. And then one of the higher-ups contacted We Thrive and said, okay, we need direction where to go, and sent us a survey to pick one of those. And that's what was discussed at night at We Thrive. So that's where they are right now. The plan last year was to have that plan done last year and to have implementation done this year. So I'm not sure. I don't know what happened there on their end.
Okay.
It kind of feels like we're restarting, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah. Good thing is, I mean, yeah. Everyone on our end's doing what they need to do.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just waiting for that, unfortunately.
So reason for my question, we can talk after council.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions for the mayor? All right, we'll move on. City Manager's report, Mr. Bauer.
Let's see, I guess we were just talking about the CURC, which made me think about it. I guess just to let people know, the money is still sitting in the city's account, and the CIC, the way we had passed it was if they were not under contract by the 28th, we would have to revisit it. So I think the city is good on their side that if they do go after another property that we would want to support, the city could still just give the money to the CIC, but I guess the CIC would probably need to do something different, but just so people kind of know where that stands. For the Perry Compton, did you want to talk about it tonight? I guess I don't know how that would work. Do you want to call a committee meeting in new business? Or, I mean, I'm happy to go over it, or however you want to go about it.
Yes, that's why I was, and I'll leave it up to all of council, if we wanted to do like a work session next council meeting, if that's not soon enough. There's no football game tonight, so.
Right.
So if we want to talk about it a little after council, or I can take it to Streets Committee.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, it's basically, there's been a huge uptick in crashes at that intersection, and it's, you know, either adding stop signs or taking away parking so you can increase visibility, so it's sort of discussing the options as to what we'd want to do.
Yeah,
We just talk about their new business.
okay.
Okay.
I don't think it's a long discussion. I think everybody's probably on the same page.
The only question I have is, did you have a chance to talk to Justin about the potential, if a roundabout is even a decent idea?
I didn't. I apologize. I'll still get with
Okay.
them, just see if that's, yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if it's feasible, but
right.
There's a plan for it.
a roundabout there?
Yeah, in the comprehensive plan from 2007. They recommended a roundabout there and one at Harrison.
So, yeah, when we talked
Drawing.
about it last week, I didn't remember that.
It looked
And
like it'd be
when we talked
tight,
about
but
it
it
last
could-
week, we weren't sure if there was space.
That, do you need these?
Not that one.
Not that, okay. I've got it somewhere. For me.
I need one, I guess she gave hers away.
Oh, I
Oh,
thought, you wanted me to.
okay,
I
no,
thought
that's
you
fine,
passed them down.
that's fine, keep going.
Okay, yeah, there you go. That's the report I just had up here.
Going.
Sorry.
Aaron wants to ask a question.
You can come up to the podium. Going.
I'm trying, they won't take them.
Or old, either one.
On Compton? Is this one that we've done in the past? Is it an old one?
This was something we talked about a couple months ago, but I wanted to wait until we worked that with Safe Passages to School and see, through We Thrive. The last time we talked about that at council, we wanted to kind of maybe cover all of that at the same time if there's other issues throughout town, and we could just blanket it at one time when we work with Safe Passages to School.
So I'll wait till new business for this, Perry
Yeah,
Compton?
that's
Okay,
fine.
gotcha.
Did everybody get one of these? I've got extra still.
You want more down there?
Let's see, February 7th, our next meeting, I was planning to have Sergeant Acting Chief Nolte here for questions. If anyone has any questions for the police department, he'll give the standard presentation. So he will be here. Let's see, reminder of Chief DeMassi's retirement party this Saturday, 3 to 7 at the Eagles. Update on the chief search. We're in the process of letting the candidates know who was selected, but we've already had that discussion. And then February 18th will be the assessment, and we have to figure out again when exactly the interviews will occur. Some of the people are from out of town, so kind of have to, maybe work that the same weekend or something to that effect. But that's that ball is rolling there. For committees, is that going to be an old business? Picking out who?
I assume that would be a work session
Fair enough. Work session for,
tonight.
okay,
I mean, that's, unless there's a problem.
gotcha. And then my last item was Clover Nook. So I put an email on everyone's desk, kind of highlighted at the top, Clover Nook. That email is an email that Acting Chief Greg Nolte sent today to Ryan Rother. Terry is the on-site person that we deal with, but Ryan is the regional manager. That's a new contact that we have. Other people that we've dealt with are either not there or are just sort of not the appropriate person to be dealing with on a day-to-day basis. It's more if they have an actual capital project that they get involved, but we're hoping Ryan will be the day-to-day person. I had tried to set up a monthly meeting with a previous person they just weren't the right person. But this email was in response to what's below in italics. That was originally sent in July of 2021, where they came back with items that they were going to improve on the properties. They did a couple of them. They did cut back trees and stuff like that, but the cameras obviously need to be either replaced or upgraded. I assume they worked at one point, but they're either just too old or maybe they weren't the right quality. That's something I've got emails going back to June of 2021, us complaining that they're not working, and a crime would occur, and we'd go request the video, and it wouldn't be available because the camera would actually be not functioning. So frustrating that we have the flock system that can pick up all the cars, the license plates that come in there, but if you don't have the video or you don't have people cooperating to kind of say, what happened, you just have license plate numbers. It doesn't really tell you much. So we're working with them, hoping to hear back from this Ryan guy, and we'll see where it goes. I think that's really all the update I have for Clover Nook, other than just we're still working on it. And I feel like I say that every time I'm up here, and it's frustrating, but it's just very difficult to get the right person. They're based out of Cleveland, and I don't know where this property stacks up in their priority list. It doesn't seem like it's very high, so we just kind of get the runaround. I mean, even during the blizzard, it was tough to get a hold of people just to get into the properties to turn off the water, because they would have water mains break in a lot of their units. It's like, we're trying to help you save your property, and we can't get a hold of anyone to even get inside of here. So it's been a frustration dealing with them, so. Questions?
I would like to entertain a question to council. Back when we approved the plan from Pearl in 2016, I believe it was, we gave them tax abatements for 10 to 15 years, property tax abatements. And I think it's time to have our law director start looking into how we can rescind that abatement and get our money. We're paying a lot of money for our police to go down there, and last month it was 61 times, twice a day, and things aren't getting better. So in my opinion, we need to start looking at taking that
I
money
was
back.
just gonna mention that myself.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
By me.
Shall I make a motion? I'll make a motion that we request our law director to investigate what needs to be done to rescind the tax abatement for Clover Nook Apartments.
I second it.
Okay. Do we do a roll call on that or voice?
I think just a voice vote.
Yep, I'll get with Scott Solomon, see what he recommends, and maybe it's even a work session.
Yeah, see if it's
or
even,
just-
see if it's even legal.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all those in favor of the said motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That is,
You probably should let Pearl know that we're doing this too, so,
Sure.
so that,
if I can find the right contact, I'll be happy to let him know.
yeah, well, we were talking to a lady in
Columbus?
back in 21.
Okay.
She was there.
There's a senior VP of asset management that we occasionally get in contact with.
Sure wasn't Cleveland?
I think it's
I-
Cleveland.
Most of the people are in Cleveland, but I think she was working out of Columbus.
Yeah. Yeah, Cleveland's the main office, but they've got
Yeah, right.
satellite offices or regional offices, so, yep. I'll get that ball rolling.
Is there anything out there for charging for overusage, like abusive usage, basically? I mean, we're down there twice a day. I mean, that's kind of abuse of our resources.
I'm sure there is. I mean, what you declare a public nuisance is probably the closest thing, but it's, I mean, you've got to have
I think you have to
lot.
sue them
Really? Okay.
to declare them a public nuisance, is my understanding.
And I think it's a lot of activity, a lot more, and it feels like a lot of activity now, but even more so than what we're experiencing, I think is just what I've heard, but that's what I'll talk with Scott Solomon about. I mean, they will kind of do just enough to kind of keep things going. I mean, they've added the details, the special police details, which are great, right? I mean, it's a step in the right direction, but I mean, they need to invest a lot into the property to get the cameras working. I mean, that would be huge. Potentially a security guard, something like that. I mean, it
She
just,
said they would do that a year and a half ago.
Yeah, they did.
And they
yeah,
haven't done
that's
it.
all in this email as well from the senior
Yeah,
VP.
I was on that phone call.
Yeah. Yep.
We have to do something,
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
or they're never gonna.
One more thing under this, sorry, Ross.
It's fine.
The issue with the frozen water lines and that, I heard that from the fire chief, and I forgot to follow up with him to make sure that they at least knew they got contact information and all that stuff. And I apologize, I forgot to follow up with him on that. I'll make sure I get to him.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, some of that was just the timing, that it was the holidays, so I think a lot of people
Yeah.
just were not close to their phone, which, I mean, it's not necessarily an excuse, it's a blizzard. If you're
Yeah.
in that position, you should have your phone there, but I think that was
Or
probably
if-
part of it too.
If the city even has, I guess, the ability to shut the water off,
Right.
temporarily,
Yeah, I
without
forget-
shutting it off to the whole,
Right. Well, I forget the name of it. Chief Lawson would know, just where they put some kind of security box with the keys in there. So we know where the shut off is, and we have a key to it, and only we have a key to that box to get into it.
Yeah.
I forget what that's called, but
Knox box.
Knox box. Okay, Knox box. Thank you. They do
Okay.
not have those, but that's obviously something we're trying to get them to
Okay.
set up for us.
Awesome. Yep.
Solve some of these problems.
Anything else, Mr. Bauer?
That's all I have.
Questions for Mr. Bauer? Okay, Finance Director Melanie Brandis.
December's reports were in your packet. Those are also year-end, so that is how we ended the year. I have the 2023 budget posted now and just started paying bills today. So I'm in 2023 and moving along.
Thank you, Melanie.
And that's all.
Questions?
Okay, I'd heard of that, yeah.
Okay, then we go on to ordinances and resolutions. We have a couple second readings on ordinances and resolutions. Second reading of an ordinance, 23-2009. An ordinance amending section 34.21 of the Mount Healthy, Ohio Code of Ordinances.
So we're going from 14 full-time police officers to 16. The two additional that were included in the budget, that's all this is basically approving, is just kind of formalizing that we're going from 14 to 16. And we do have those listed. We've got a few candidates that we're already looking at, so hopefully in the next month or two here, we'll have them filled.
Super.
Granting that we pass this tonight, I guess.
But we have maybe a couple positions opening back up, don't we?
What do you mean? I'm sorry?
A couple police, full-time.
We had one person that had left that's already been filled. We've got one we have to kind of hold open because it's someone who's on National Guard leave. And then we have these two new ones that
Okay.
we're looking for now.
Okay.
So, and we have 3 applicants, I guess. 3 applicants so far.
All right. Any other questions on this ordinance, gentlemen, ladies? Yeah, I would ask for a motion to adopt.
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 23-2009.
Mr. Parsons has made a motion to adopt. Do I have a second? Mr. George has seconded. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Lingo?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Mr. Redding?
Aye.
Mrs. Dosa?
Aye.
Mr. George?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mrs. Rissel?
Okay, by a vote of 7-0, ordinance 23-2009 is adopted. Next second reading of an ordinance is 23-2010. An emergency ordinance authorizing all actions necessary to support a governmental electricity aggregation program with opt-out provisions pursuant to sections 4928-.20 Ohio Revised Code, directing the city manager of the city of Mount Healthy to execute a supply agreement with Energy Harbor to continue its electric aggregation program beyond April of 2023, when the current supply agreement ends.
So I gave you a new printout with the rates as they are today, and just to kind of reiterate, passing this is telling me to have a contract with Energy Harbor. You'll need to tell me what council would prefer as far as the time period. IEC is recommending the 24 months, and these rates are just the rates as they are today. So they basically told me, let's see, 7.23 today, and it was kind of trending up for the day, so it might be just a few cents more than that tomorrow, just so you know. It may not be exactly what you're seeing on paper, but you can kind of get the ballpark number of what it is, so.
Do you know where this was at our last meeting?
In December, it was 8.64. The last one was 7.99, and now we got 7.23. So it's gone down quite a bit. How long it will continue to go down?
Right. If we put it off till next meeting, we could,
Yeah, it
Could
could
be
go
back to
right
8.
back up.
It could be
It'll be back to 8.
So this has to be attached to this.
So, so I say we lock it
they're
in.
recommending 24 months for what reason?
There's just, the basic rationale is that 12 months, there's just a lot of unknowns with the war in Ukraine, still maybe some after effects from COVID with crazy demand and supply. So 12 months just seems like you're kind of taking a risk. You don't know which way it could go. and 36 just kind of feels too long. I mean, it was just sort of a nice midway point was really the rationale that they gave us, so.
Well, once again, in 36 months, it could be lower, or it could be 3
Yeah.
or 4 points higher.
Yeah, so 24 months kind of, you would hope, would get us past kind of all of these unknowns that are going on. I mean, there
Yeah.
could be more unknowns
Yeah.
in the
Right,
next
I'm
year,
afraid
but
so.
And
get
going
past
from
a lot of the stuff.
24 months to 36 to 48, there's very little,
difference.
very little change.
Yeah. Right. So council, opinions on that?
Just kind of where your comfort level is for the time frame, where you want to lock in at.
What's the number of months that you want to run this aggregation out?
And also, do we want to continue with the renewable option? It does not add anything to the price. It's just an option that a resident can say if, they want to support renewables. It's more expensive, and again, the cost is on them. It doesn't change the price of the standard rate here.
I think that option is in our aggregation agreement, so we have to have that, I think.
Okay.
So we should do both.
Sure.
So, but according to this, it says the renewables is an opt-in, which makes sense. But the regular piece of the contract, the non-renewable piece, is an opt-out piece, I believe, from reading the last the last
Supposed to
one.
be, yeah.
Yes.
Everybody understanding this,
This
council?
contract was an opt-in prior to this.
No, it's opt-out.
I like the 24 months.
Yeah, they've always been opt-out.
24? I'm in favor of the
Two of
24.
my neighbors were not in it at all, and they did not opt out.
It's always been opt-out. That's always been part of our contract.
Oh, don't,
Maybe something weird happened with them, but it's always been opt-out. For aggregation was required.
Have they moved in?
no,
That's
no,
how we
we
were able to
were,
negotiate.
I believe we were able to control that piece.
It was opt-in, or opt-out, for
No.
sure.
It was always opt-out. Have they
Always.
moved in since we started the program?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
So does everybody want to go for the 24-month?
Yes.
24 sounds good.
Maggie,
That's what I will do.
you don't care? Denise?
She's like,
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I guess 24 months per unanimous.
Okay. Sounds good. And I'll make sure they keep the renewables option as well.
Yes. Now, where are we at here? We have
Make a motion.
got to get a motion.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 23-2010.
Ms. Lingo's made a motion to adopt ordinance 23-2010. Do I have a second?
I think you need to say for a period of 24 months.
Oh, for a period of 24
For a
months.
period of 24 months.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Redding is seconded. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Lingo?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Mr. Redding?
Aye.
Mrs. Dosa?
aye.
Mr. George?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mrs. Rissel?
Okay, by a vote of 7-0, ordinance 23-2010 is approved. Now we have one resolution, second reading of a resolution, 23-1198. A resolution requesting the county auditor to make payment of taxes pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, section 321.34. And this is the resolution that we do just about every year to get them to release money into our community.
Yeah, just a formality,
pay bills.
basically.
Yes. Any comments or questions, council, before we ask for a motion?
I make a motion to adopt resolution number 23-1198.
Okay, Mr. George has made a motion to adopt 23-1198.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Parsons has seconded. Roll call when you're ready.
Mrs. Lingo?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Mr. Redding?
Aye.
Mrs. Dosa?
Aye.
Mr. George?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mrs. Rissel?
Okay, by a vote of 7-0, resolution 23-1198 is approved. Okay, we have no new ordinances, and we have 2 new resolutions. First reading on 23-1199, resolution A resolution to approve the recommendations for the Planning Commission regarding a conditional use request for the operation of a Type A group daycare in the E-Business District at 1459 Compton Road. Okay, discussion.
Just for the record, I believe the clerk has the official copy, which is corrected.
Correct.
But on our copies, in the second whereas paragraph, whereas on December 19th, out at the very end of that line, it should be 22-1. Resolution 22-1 out at the end. Is this a pass it quick? Or, have a vote quick, whichever.
I think that would be for the best, yeah. In one reading if possible.
Well, I think we ought to discuss the request by
For the planning part?
for the extended hours, whether that's going to happen or not.
Well, the
She
request,
left, so I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think for us it's urgent.
but they put in a request back in December,
Right.
so if we don't pass it now, it'll be February.
Yeah.
Well, what her preference is 24 hours, but what were you guys leaning towards?
Planning Commission rejected the 24 hours, and I personally agree with them.
She proposed to close at midnight.
11 or 12, I don't think she had a preference, but I would assume she'd prefer midnight. She seems to want the longer hours.
Honestly, if the whole objection to 24 hours is having them open at night when the bar's open, or the brewery's open, and the brewery closes at 10 and 11. So if you're gonna approve for midnight, it would make sense just to strike the whole hour, unless you have other reasons for it not to be 24 hour. I want you to know the reasoning behind that denial of the 24 hour. The idea was if they close at 7, they won't be open during those conflicting night hours of the brewery being open. The brewery's not, it's not like a regular bar that's open till 2. They close at 10 on weeknights, 11 on weekends. So allowing them to stay open till midnight, you might as well let them stay open 24/7. If you do that, I do still recommend keeping the other conditions in. Requiring the parking off-street, and there's no need to hurt her by saying she can't be 24 hours if it's not gonna solve the purpose of us limiting the hours anyway, basically, is what I'm saying. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yes, I
it
understand
does.
what you're saying.
If you disagree with planning commission on that, you might wanna just let her be open 24 hours. But it's up to you all.
What were the other conditions on?
Parking has to be off-street for employees, which fits into our code, existing code. We want to reinforce it. And that the drop-off has to be in the driveway. We didn't want drop-offs on Compton Road next to a brewery. We wanted them to pull in, drop off, pull out.
Yeah, the house just has your typical driveway that you pull in. I mean, there's no way to kind of roundabout your way in. You have to pull in, drop them off. Otherwise, you're doing it on Compton Road, which was kind of the fear of having kids
We
just
did not
dropped
want
off.
that, correct.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were more worried about that than
Than the hours.
being next to Fibonacci. I mean, or the
Mr.
hours,
Redding?
yeah.
Yep, so this is on the south side of Compton, obviously, but next door is a residence, and then next door to that is a 4-family residence. So,
No.
right?
This property
it's-
is
it's-
right next to Fibonacci. I mean,
Oh, so this is on the east side of Fibonacci?
West side.
Next to Kraft.
The greenhouse on the west side.
West side, it's west side of Fibonacci.
Next to
East
where they
side.
do the
East
farmer's
side,
market?
it's on the east side of Fibonacci.
East side.
No, it's not. It's on the west side of Fibonacci.
So it's
East side.
It's the old Weber
It's
house.
the greenhouse on
This
the
is the
west side of
greenhouse, so it's
Fibonacci.
on the west side, so
across
yes.
from the
Oh, it's on the other side of the
cemetery.
Of the,
Airbnb?
yes.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I was thinking it
okay.
was next
So-
to it.
I
again,
thought it was
that,
the house between the
that-
Kraft remodeling and the,
No. No.
So it's where I thought it was. It's the old Weber house, and then that's who used to live there a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry.
the stage is
And then
just
a
across the fence
residence,
line.
and then a four-family
Then a
apartment.
residence, then a four-family, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that could be an issue for the residential area if it's 24-hour pickup, drop-off, so.
That's true. That's true. We didn't take that into consideration, but that's true. So there is a reason to limit it to midnight.
I'm fine with midnight. No drop off on Compton in the driveway.
Me too.
Midnight. And you agree with the,
It's still gonna be hard backing out of that driveway.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be tough.
well, and you got everybody parked there for the Fibonacci, and it narrows it. They open a car door, they're gonna lose it.
Is there parking here?
There is, yeah.
Okay.
Talk about what ifs all day.
Yeah, both sides are parking.
Is there room for them to put a roundabout in for,
There's well, I mean, she's a renter there, so she doesn't own the property, but there is like a green space next to it, so I mean, she'd have to work out something with the owner to pave it.
well, to put a roundabout in, that's another approach to the street, and that, she would have to go through planning commission for that.
She'd need a variance.
Yeah. Or the BZA, one of the two.
Yep.
What are your other thoughts, council? I got a couple over here for midnight.
I personally would be okay with 11 o'clock midnight, but 24 hours, I mean. gotta
I'm
give
okay
people
with
a
that
break.
too, but not 24.
I'm fine with the midnight, like I said.
Okay.
And the drop off and the pickup being in the driveway.
Right.
How you feel down at that end? Peggy? Well, they have to, planning commission has already said they gotta do something there.
Is Fibonacci open every night?
No, they're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Mondays and Tuesdays are closed, so this is only Wednesday. Well, they want 7-day daycare?
Oh, yeah.
7-day?
And honestly, I'll say this publicly, I wish people starting businesses would talk to attorneys. If she wanted the type B daycare, and I mentioned it at the public hearing, type B daycare, we can't prevent it here. Type A, we can put conditions. She can do type A until 7, then she can keep up to 6 kids overnight, and we can't stop her. This is where it gets really frustrating. Like, I wish people talk to attorneys when they try to open a business to get some, because we don't want, I personally don't want to stop somebody from being able to open a business to do something good, and this is a need in our community. She could get a type B, but and then she left. She could do type A, accepting our conditions, and then keep only 6 or less after those hours, and we couldn't stop her from doing that.
And we can't
She
put
could
any
open-
conditions on it.
We are not allowed to put conditions
Yeah.
on that, on type A.
So
Or
that
on
solves
type
it.
B, type B.
So that solves
So
the
she
parking
could
issues
actually,
and everything.
she could actually do that. And there would be ways, yeah. Or she could just have type B 24 hours and we couldn't say boo about it. Yeah. This is a tough one. We had a tough time with it, so I understand.
Because I want her to be able to open a business. We want her to be successful, but just not
It's a bad location.
at that location. It's a bad spot. But I don't want to hinder her from starting a business and running a business.
Well, whether the BZA will allow her to put in a U-shaped driveway and get it approved for the variance and so forth, whether the owner will allow it, we don't know that.
What a story.
Probably have to pay.
She may not have the funds
Right.
to do that, so.
If I was renting a building, I would be very hesitant to put a bunch of money into it for the owner.
Especially something that you do not own.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Well, council, let's see, where do you want to go with this? pretty much gave me the opinion you'd like to go to 11 to 12, you'd approve that, keep the other conditions. Is that what I'm hearing?
I've been through there in the evening, and Fibonacci gets a lot of parked cars. And I don't see any way for people to drop off and pick up there. I mean, very difficult.
Especially on the weekends, it is very tight in there.
All day long, even on
Yep.
on Sundays when they do
Do
their.
the garden, yeah. Yep. Yep.
That's something she's gonna have to work out with her parents. That's not a us problem, that's a her problem. She's gonna have to work that out with her parents.
The good thing about that is I doubt parents would be dropping off in the middle of Compton if they can't even pull over. That is.
I agree.
I think no matter what we do with the hours, she's not gonna be able to do the parking and the drop-off stuff.
The driveway is wider, and once you pull in, there's room for 3 cars.
It's a,
Back up in there. I mean, it's a pretty wide once you pull in, but still.
Are they gonna fill that up?
You've got 3 cars up here, and then somebody's trying to, this person's leaving, and this is already, somebody's dropping off or what, you know.
And she's required to have off-street parking for her employees. That's part of the requirement.
So
That's
that,
per our code. So, yeah. It's tough.
Is there room for off-street parking other than in front of the building?
There's a driveway.
She has a garage.
there's a driveway and a garage, and like Peggy was saying, it's a detached garage.
Right.
So there's a big blacktop area, as I recall, back
Yeah, there
behind
is.
that house, yeah.
I mean, we can debate it as much as we want. She's gonna have to figure out a way to accommodate her staff and the parents with the pickup and drop-off. We have to figure out whether or not we're just gonna allow her
And-
to function.
Yeah,
I think she should be allowed to function.
Well, yeah, I'm not opposed to her owning a business or
I
running
mean,
it,
I'm not
no.
trying to be crass, but I'm just saying, that's what it
Well,
boils
we're
down
looking,
to.
we're looking at it from a safety point of view.
Right.
They
I don't
start pulling
disagree.
babies out, park along the street and start pulling babies out with an open door into the street. That's gonna be a disaster.
Thank you. With those hours, with those conditions.
And see where she does.
Okay. Do we have to modify the conditions before we vote?
Were there nearby residents at the planning commission? No concern?
No. We had one, but they didn't speak.
Just listen.
Just sat in audience.
They were all contacted though, right?
Yeah, they had to be.
It's an aerial, but it doesn't, so many trees, I can't really see
big
that
area
driveway
across
back
the
there.
street, nobody responded.
So they're gonna have to get out.
Actually, I think
They're all
if
dead.
they're open till 11 or 12, it's probably better because all the Fibonacci people will be gone.
That's true.
I mean, you're still gonna have a
You're
couple
right.
people getting picked up at 7, 8, 9, 10, but if most
That's
people are
true.
coming to pick up their children at 11 or 12, then Fibonacci's gone.
Yeah.
I think that's a good
At
point.
7 o'clock, you know, then it's full then. Parking's pretty well filled up.
You're not upsetting anyone with planning commission. This was a tough one.
Okay.
Okay, council, I would entertain a motion to, I guess, change the specifications. From parish council, for God's sakes.
You've been on too many committees in your life.
Exactly right.
Yes. No, I can't even think.
How do we do that?
So do we,
Because it's against the recommendation, so do we change this, or if we change the time?
We-
How do you do that?
Well, we make a motion to adopt with these changes to the planning commission's recommendation.
Well, try this. I make a motion to suspend the 2 reading rule with the amendments of, that we discussed to leaving it open till 12 o'clock.
PM.
Yes.
Yep.
With the other conditions. in
12
place.
o'clock.
With the
AM,
other
actually.
conditions that were given by the planning commission. We need to make sure we
Yes.
have that there.
Midnight.
Till midnight, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Changing the resolution to go till midnight, but keeping the other
Conditions.
specifications.
Other conditions, yep.
So Mr. Redding has made a motion to change the resolution to allow him to stay open till midnight. Is that correct, Joe, or 11?
Midnight,
Midnight?
and suspend a 2 reading rule.
Can you do that both at one time?
What?
Can we do both at one time?
Oh, I think so.
I would think so.
Yeah, I second the motion.
Okay. Mr. Parsons has seconded the motion. Now, this is regarding the conditional use, is changed to midnight, and the other specifications that the
We're just suspending the 2
the
reading
planning
rule.
commission has put in there. Yeah. So on page 3 of that resolution,
So operate for the business hours
the
of,
business hours would be 5 AM to 12 AM or midnight, and everything else stays the same. We have a motion by Mr. Redding and a second by Mr. Parsons. Is that different, or is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And to suspend a 2 reading rule.
And to suspend the 2 reading rule. So we'd have to have a roll call vote on that. Anybody understand those changes?
yes.
Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Lingo.
Aye.
Mr. Parsons.
Aye.
Mr. Redding.
Aye.
Mrs. Dosa.
Aye.
Mr. George.
Aye.
Mr. Young.
Aye.
Mrs. Rissel.
Okay, by a vote of 7-0, the 2 reading rules have been suspended.
Now we need to make a motion to adopt as is with the conditions, correct?
So I would like to ask for a motion to adopt.
Make a motion to adopt as is corrected, resolution number 23-1199.
Okay, Mr. George has made a motion to adopt Resolution 23-1199 as changed for the hours.
I second that.
Ms. Dosa seconded. Roll call.
Mrs. Lingo.
Aye.
Mr. Parsons.
Aye.
Mr. Redding.
Aye.
Mrs. Dosa.
Aye.
Mr. George.
Aye.
Mr. Young.
Aye.
Mrs. Rissel.
Okay, by a vote of 7-0, Resolution number 23-1199 is approved. Now, we have a first reading on another resolution that was on your desk. Or was the other one on the desk? No, this one. Resolution number 23-1200, a resolution declaring it necessary for levying tax exceeding the 10 mil limitations and requesting the county auditor to certify matters in connection therewith and declaring an emergency.
So this is the
This is in
one,
regards to putting the issue on the ballot for
Oh, yes.
May?
August.
August?
so the way this is written, it's November. I did not see on the election website where there is an August election. Is there? I mean, we can change this. What I see is a special primary election May 2nd, and then the general on November 7th. So if
Can we-
someone wants to show me where the August election is, I'm happy to have it changed, but I wasn't seeing it. I think,
Didn't they limit it recently?
if we wanted to do the May, we basically have to have this passed and certified, and then have the next step passed by,
February 2nd.
yeah, February 2nd.
We can't do that.
So then,
But
I just don't see the August. Did we see it when we were looking at it during the last meeting? Did someone see it?
I
Okay,
didn't see it. They usually have an August election. I think we can do a first reading, and you could call them
Yep.
tomorrow and find out if they're gonna have an election in August.
As long as we don't pay $30,000 to have that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
The only one that's something on the ballot.
And they will have no idea what's gonna be on the ballot if they are having one.
so in August 2021, the Ohio House voted on House Bill 458 that only allowed August elections to fill vacant congressional seats, nothing else.
For what?
To fill vacant congressional seats, so basically eliminated special elections. But that, trying to see if it passed further. It passed the full House. I have a feeling that's what happened.
So August is out, there is no,
Can't find an update. We need to look into that.
Well, I think we can do 2 readings on this anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing it early enough. If there is an August, we'd have time to put it on there. But I mean, I have a schedule of the Mount Healthy elections, and it does only just list, you know, it lists when the mayor's up, when members of council at large, and how many are, members of council are up for reelection. And the dates that they give are May 2nd and November 7th.
Well, that's
But-
the way it always is. There's never office elections in August.
No.
Okay,
It's usually, it's just issues.
gotcha. Okay, yeah, that's fair. I'll give them a call.
First reading?
first reading on that resolution.
It'd either be August or November. Is there another one that's out there that it potentially?
No, I don't think we have August.
That is all the resolutions and ordinances. So we move on to old business.
We're gonna talk about committees, or we're gonna do that in a,
I thought we'd do that at work session, or you can do it now. Doesn't matter.
we gotta talk about your safety stuff in a work session?
We might, let's do it all at the same time.
Next meeting?
Next council meeting, that'll just give us more time to be prepared about Compton and Perry, have more answers, or have more information and knowledge about that situation, and then we can knock out the committees at the same time.
Sounds good.
So schedule a work session for the next meeting for both of those topics, Compton, Perry, and committees.
Yep.
Okay.
Does that fit okay? Okay.
Well, that's fine, because we usually have the work sessions on a week that we don't have committee reports.
Yeah.
Correct, yes.
Every 2 weeks?
Old Business Council, any old business? New business?
Don't forget, you have to file your ethics report by May,
Yeah.
May 15th, I think it is.
Hefty fine if you don't.
No, it's not 14 pages, like less than 5. You may not, I don't know if you might have.
Yes, she is. She filed already for 21. She gotta file
Okay.
for 22.
Okay, good enough? As long as you got it covered.
Saying Chiefs retirement party, say it again, it's
Oh,
open
that's
house,
right.
so stop by. I'll have I've got a putting green that I'm gonna have, and I've got a little chip set, so if you wanna play a little
cool.
golf, have some cake, have some barbecue, come hang out for a little bit.
Are you gonna,
Family's gonna be
I'm
there.
serious.
Yeah, it's fine.
are you gonna charge for that? Take a little raffle?
I might.
And proceeds can go to the boxing place?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Every little bit helps, right?
Yeah.
Ms. Lingo, you
I'd
have
like to make
anything?
a motion to adjourn.
Ms. Lingo has made a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Peggy?
Peggy said she seconded it.
Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, council.